Hey, everyone. Welcome to our Scale Talks Live weekly. Um, I am so excited to be able to be meeting with y'all today. This is a weekly. I'm trying to fix this screen. Why is it not going full? Okay. Um, This is our weekly discussion that we're going to have, and this is for insurance agents who are looking to grow and scale their business. Really, just overall about positioning and creating a dynamic experience when it comes to the industry. We have found that 95% of insurance agents who actually go into the field and expertise of selling PNC or life insurance, we have found that 95% of them actually quit, right? Only 51% actually pass the exam. So that leaves 49% who, studied, went through the whole process, maybe even started, working in an office and until they got their license and was given referrals to a licensed rep and then found themselves actually not being able to pass, right? And not going on. And of those 51% who actually do pass, we found that only 20% of them go on to make it as a successful career. And then of that, 5% of them are actually making revenue that is able to sustain their families. And in today's marketplace, that is very huge when it comes to building a business for longevity. And so today I want to talk about operations and revolutionizing your operations, the path to having peak efficiency. A lot of times when it comes to the industry, especially as sales, because in insurance, because there's so many different unique offices and so forth, there's so many different offices that have their own culture, they have their own systems and so forth. Others are not always talking to others to be able to enhance. And so my goal is to be that expert that can help you with increasing your operations and sales within the insurance agency space. Your goal is to know your stuff, be able to show up for your client, and have your expertise. My goal is to be able to find the areas that are costing you money and also costing you a lot of time for you in the insurance space. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about like some of the things that you actually need. But I want to invite you to go to our website. If you go to package your profit / scale talks, you will be able to get the other recordings and you'll be able to get access to our portal and go through and watch other recordings that will help you in the insurance space. Okay. And so, one of the things that I have found is that when it comes to operations, there's a lot of bottlenecks, right? When it comes to client experience, and it causes a lot of delays, it causes a lot of inefficiencies when it comes to your agency. And so some of the examples I want to talk about are like manual paperwork, right? By the way, if y'all are appearing live, let me know that you are appearing live by hashtagging live in the chat, okay? So I am not just talking to myself, but I have some points that I really want to talk about. And so, what exactly are operational bottlenecks, right? Operational bottlenecks are processes that slows down the revenue within the company, within your organization, because you are spending too much time on things that are not generating revenue. And you're spending too much time on outdated technology. Maybe you're doing manual paperwork. I had one office that was literally delivering the I know there's a lot of people don't do this anymore, but they were manually delivering policies to clients. Like, you're the insurance agent. Your main moneymaker is to get in front of clients and actually make money. And for you to be delivering, um, insurance packets to clients personally, that is costing you, time and money within your organization. So there's a way that you can streamline and make sure that your clients are getting what they need with that. And it also depends on how your organization is ran, right? Based off of how I tell you to operate. Another thing I have found is that poor communication among team members. When it comes to onboarding new team members, that is like the biggest thing when it comes to your momentum in your organization. So if you don't have an effective way to highly have someone engage, especially with the numbers that I just shared, 95% of insurance agents actually quit. So if you don't grasp them, right, it's just like you scrolling right now, right? And you watching this live. If for whatever reason it doesn't grasp or catch your attention, you're going to the next thing, right? And because insurance is such a low barrier cost to entry, a lot of times the a lot of times the organization is paying for the cost, right? Um, and they are covering it, right? A little bit about me and my background is I've been in sales for over 13 years. I actually used to represent a one of the top 5 insurance companies in the nation today. And they covered my costs. Like, it was very low cost to entry. Me personally, I have generated over 97 million in sales, and I have found ways around not having to work as hard and to focus on the things that make money. It's so funny because I was talking to a potential client yesterday, and I know that she's trying to figure things out. I know that she's trying to understand how to better show up in her agency. And she had sent me a message. She's like, sorry, I've been stuck in the weeds. She finally had responded to my email I sent her last week. And she had asked me questions that I had already provided answers to, and it was crazy because it didn't take me long to map out what was needed to send it over to her. But I knew that she was like so all over the place and that I was going to sleep good last night when I got the message. And I knew she was going to be up all night trying to figure out, certain things and certain aspects of her business because she's trying to scale. And she just doesn't know what she doesn't know, right? As an insurance agent, you're supposed to know your product and service in and out. As an operations and sales professional myself, I'm supposed to be able to catch your gaps. I'm supposed to be able to say, hey, you know what? This is why you're burnt out. This is why you won that company trip and you're on the beach, right? I had a client who won a company trip, and he was able to go on the trip and just chill. And he said it was the first time. He's been in insurance for almost 10 years. It was the very first time that he was actually able to not worry about coming back to or being hit up about a policy or whatever, and knowing that his team could take care of it, right? Because we were able to put some systems in place so that we can guard his attention. And each office is different, right? Sometimes the moneymaker is the life insurance person, right? And so I'm guarding their space and making sure that the PNC policies are constantly being able to be ran by your team, because there's more stipulations when it comes to life insurance, depending on what company you're with and so forth. And so when it really comes to operations, you really want to make sure that you are keeping track of 3 things, right? The first thing is you want to make sure that you're doing what's called process mapping, right? And again, I'm gonna share some stuff with y'all, and you're gonna probably go do this. I will say that I did have an insurance agent last year do a pick my brain with me. She came back to me 2 months ago and let me know she made $50,000 off of my strategies. I have another one who is with a direct sales company, kind of similar, or in life insurance, and she has increased her sales by 30%. 400%. She is making 30K a month now. And that's take home, right? That's 30K a month for her. And that was literally within 90 days. She's had a 400% increase. And so with that being said, I'm going to talk about different things that I do, but I don't want you to stress about it because this is something that I could totally come into your organization and do, okay? So the very first thing is process mapping and optimization, right? You're going to take out some time for your current workflows. One of the things that I when I follow insurance agents online is I don't see a clear map to working with you, right? It took 10 years for me to find someone to work with. And even so, that person does not have their systems in place the way I would love to have a client experience. But a lot of times, like you're just learning insurance, right? You don't know that there's a way for you to not consistently try to keep making content, but being able to create a clear path of how to work with you. That is costing you revenue when people are going to your page and all they see is a bunch of different content because you're trying to stay in front of them and you're really not educating them. You're really not providing them a way of, okay, this is how you're going to work with me and so forth. Like you're literally just talking at them. And so you want to make sure that you're creating and streamlining your processes as to how you're going to acquire clients, right? So you're going to write this down. There's 3 things you want to focus on. One is client acquisition. How are you going to acquire the clients? What channels are you going to put them through? Number 2 is how are you going to retain that client, right? I'm so proud to say that when I work with my clients, I increase their retention by 30%. I increase their retention by 30% when they begin working with me in their agency. And the reason being is because I know the ins and outs of what the clients is looking for. And people are always going to be shopping around, right? So if you stay top of mind and you have a creative way to stay top of mind, then you're able to retain your clients, right? And then number 3 is you are going to focus on the client experience, right? So number 1, client acquisition. Number 2 is you are going to focus on the client retention. And then you're going to focus on the client's experience, right? And so that is all about streamlining your workflows and so forth. So I'll give you an example. I'm trying to think of what client I use. So I had one agency, right, we work with that was struggling with manual data entry, right? They were just getting accustomed to CRMs. And just because people are being exposed to CRMs in the industry doesn't mean that they know how to use it, right? So I am that expert that comes in and shows you how to maximize a CRM within your organization, within communication. And the purpose of the CRM is to not replace you, but it's actually meant there to actually enhance the client experience. So I had a client who was doing manual entry, which was they were manually typing in clients' information, and it was causing delays and it was causing errors, right? By the time we were done, we had actually reduced errors by 70%. Which also freed up the time for the team to focus on client relationship. And so just because you're integrating technology does not mean that it is robotic and it's bad or whatever. It definitely can enhance your client experience and adding an additional touch. Another agency improved their internal communication by adopting a project management tool. So some of my clients, they like to have these monthly events, right? They like to have, informational meetings and so forth. Well, there's these things called project management tools where you can manage your projects and it can integrate with what's called your CRM, which is a customer relationship management tool. And it allows you to be able to delegate tasks of like, okay, well, every week, Jen is going to be the one who is going to be doing this, right? Or every month, this is what Roger's going to be over and responsible for, right? And so you want to make sure that you are having those systems in place that can be duplicated, right, from an internal team. So if there are things that you do consistently within the organization, whether if it's weekly meetings, I have one team that meets every Friday. They need to have an outline of like what they're going to talk about. And then they also need to be able to pinpoint, okay, when we meet next meeting, this is what needs to have done. And the project management tool holds the team accountable. So we work with teams on streamlining their workflows. And a workflow is basically a series of tasks that happens in collaboration with manual input, right? So like if you're doing things with your clients and so forth, a workflow would be behind and going in and emailing or, submitting confirmations or whatever, right? And the result of this, it actually increased the overall productivity for 30%. And so when you're able to increase your productivity and focus on tasks that are not necessarily generating the business money, then you're able to increase that time and use that, right? Now, if you have any questions and you're tuning in, just go ahead and comment below. It's saying that some destinations are not able to display comments. So that's fine. I'm going to go through. If you have questions, I'll definitely comment, because I am streaming out to five different social media channels. And so if I miss your comment and it's not showing up, I will definitely respond. So if you're an insurance agent, or if you're in that space and you just have any specific questions, let me know. So just to recap, we discussed about what operational bottlenecks are, how they are costing your organization, the impact that it's having on your business, and some innovative strategies to overcome them, right? So we talked about, learning how to use a CRM better, learning how to have it, better be a part of you, like an extension of you, versus having it being a replacement of you, right? Remember that the key to revolutionizing your operation lies in identifying your bottlenecks, right? And so when you writing out of how you're going to streamline, I want you to think about, today, when my client sees me, how do they see me, right? Are they scrolling on Facebook, and do they see, oh, I posted a handbook, right? But what is the call to action to work with you? How are they going to reach out? Some people like streamlining processes. Like, for instance, I just signed up for some makeup services, right? Like a makeup artist. I signed up for photography, and I also signed up to get my hair done, right? All three of those, I didn't have to communicate with the business owner, right? And that's where we're having issues when it comes to the insurance industry, is like, you have to be a part of every process, and you don't want to automate everything because you're set in your ways or whatever. But there's people like me that are very educated buyers who, by the time they see your information, they're ready to move forward, and they just want to know, how do I book a call? They want to know, how can I sign up? I can't tell you how many sales calls I've had with life planning life planning agents who work with you on creating life planning policies and so forth. And I've had a call with them. We've had the initial call. It'll be like 30, 45 minutes. They have this extensive questionnaire, and it's just like, the questionnaire is like so outdated. Like, I would love to be able to just type in my answers versus just filling it out on a Google Doc or spreadsheet, right? Like, a lot of the things and experience, like, it's costing you money from buyers like myself who really love independence, who really love, like, I love the personal touch, but let the personal touch be us building a relationship, right? You learning more about me versus us sitting on a phone call and having to insert things manually, and so forth. And so really making sure that you're optimizing your processes, that you're leveraging technology, and you're fostering team collaboration. That's one of the biggest things when it comes to insurance, is that when, like I said, new team members come on, 95% of them actually quit because there's nothing to capture them. There's nothing to cultivate them. There's nothing to add value to them as a insurance agent, right? And so they leave, right? There's so many different other options. There's, some people, they join insurance because shiny object syndrome. They see that you can make all this money, but then they realize how much work it is, right, for you to get to the bag. And so you want to make sure that you are creating and streamlining processes that somebody can come straight in and just be like, here's this person, here's this person, here's this person. Let's get to the bag, versus having to go through so many different things, trying to figure out how to learn the systems, and, and all the things that do not contribute to you making revenue. Okay. And so I want to encourage you to take the insights from today's session and start implementing these strategies in your agency. Like I said, write out, how does a person hear from you, right? So number one is client acquisition. Number two is client retention. How are you keeping those clients, right? And then number three, what is the client experience that you're creating, right? I am going to a 5-star restaurant with someone who wants to offer me, some life planning services, right? And like, they are add some life planning services, and they've created an amazing experience, right? I know a lot of people that are in the space that can offer what they offer, but I love experience. I love like even without the restaurant, just the experience of being able to experience their product or service. It's not a lot of manual, there's not a lot of back and forth. Um, and I enjoy that, right? And so there's a lot of buyers out there that are like myself that definitely enjoy being able to have that. So write out the different experiences you're going to have, write out how you're going to retain them, how you're going to keep each client week after week. I'm sorry, year after year. And then also, how are you going to acquire them, right? How are people going to start working with you from your outreaches and so forth? Um, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm Nikki Connor again, and it's been a pleasure with sharing this time with you. Again, go to the Package Your Profit /ScaleTalks, and you'll be able to have like different trainings and so forth where you're able to have access to free trainings that will help you with up leveling your insurance agency. Bye for now, and thank you so much for your time.